Hello and welcome to Tome of Uselessness. I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And today we're talking about Alita Battle Angel. But first, we have a new segment called Stuff We Like This Week. And we're going to talk about stuff we like this week. Dan, did you like anything?
Yeah. So I finished Code Geass Season 1. It was pretty good. It's only got the 2, so I'll move on to that.
That's an anime?
It's an anime show, yeah. I read Doctor Strange Season 1, which was a comic. Doctor Strange Origin. I think it was from 2012-ish. It was really good. Lots of cool art.
Cool.
Just a little simple retelling. And then, because we did some Star Wars stuff, I had the itch. So I read Star Wars Dark Empire comic, which is one of those times Luke goes bad, he joins the Empire.
Nice.
And then becomes Palpatine's apprentice, and there's clones, etc. There's like 3 sets of the comics. Really enjoyable stuff. Then I read some more modern Vader stuff. There was a really good one called Vader. Lost Command was pretty good, but Ghost Prison was a lot better. And it's about this Emperor officer and Vader, and there's an attack on the Empire, and then Vader has to go to this prison where basically all of the prisoners of war that he was capturing during the Clone Wars were sent to. And they don't know that, like, the Republic's fallen. Oh. And so he goes in there, and some, stuff happens. Finished Batman Arkham Knight, which was a lot of fun. And here's actually...
The game?
The video game. And I am really shocked that Rocksteady never thought about making Batman Sirens, or Gotham Sirens, sorry, a video game version. Because in the game, there's a playable Harley Quinn, playable Catwoman, and they could just make playable Poison Ivy.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Boom, you got the game. Because in Arkham City, you can free roam as Catwoman, which you can't in this one, unfortunately. So
I feel like that would sell really well.
Yeah.
And we'd see awesome. A lot of cosplay from it.
Yes. Yeah. And then the last one, because I was sick and I managed to sit down and finish Tomb Raider, the reboot from 2013.
The video game.
Also a video game. A lot of fun. It was really fun when it wasn't QuickTime events, because QuickTime events are annoying as hell.
Fair enough.
And that was stuff I liked this week.
Would you recommend all of it?
Yeah.
Cool.
For the most part. Yeah.
Cool. So I have less things to talk about. First, I listened to the entire Polybius Conspiracy podcast, which is 7 episodes, and it's about the... Have you heard of Polybius, the game?
No.
It's an urban legend about a arcade game that makes people go crazy. The podcast goes a lot more into depth. It's really interesting. It's a bit spooky.
Cool.
I think some of it's made up.
Well, sure. You gotta fictionalize a little.
Yeah, but I would recommend listening to it. It's really good.
Cool.
And if you have nothing to do in a day, you could probably finish it in one day. Next is... I'm reading a lot of paranormal romance books at the moment for a future project that I'm not talking about right now. And I am very addicted to All the Pretty Monsters series, which is available on Kindle Unlimited. It's a reverse harem. There's vampires, werewolves, demons, and a Van Helsing.
Well, you gotta have a Van Helsing.
And gypsies.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's assumed that there's a Van Helsing.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
It's predictable. Well, it's just go read it. Whatever.
All right.
If you like that kind of thing, go read it. And then the third thing I wanted to talk about was the Netflix series Russian Doll starring Natasha Lyonne.
Someone was just telling me about this as well.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I really liked it. It was kind of like a dark Groundhog Day where she dies at the end of every day and has to relive her 36th birthday.
Wait, that's hilarious because we were joking about Death Day.
I know, hey?
And then there's this show.
It was actually really enjoyable. I love Natasha Lyonne. Her character is basically what I thought I would grow up to be when I was 10 years old, which maybe says a little bit too much about me. And yeah, I would recommend it. It was interesting, a little sci-fi-y, a little bit.
Is it like this was like season 1? Is there going to be a season 2, or was it like a whole encapsulated story and it's done?
They might do a season 2 based on, I think, the popularity and how well received it is, but it's a complete story, and I feel like a season 2 would take away from it.
Right. Okay.
But I think they probably could do one if they really wanted to.
Sure, they can always write something.
They can always write something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what I liked this week. I would recommend all of it.
Nice.
Actually, you should listen to the Polybius Conspiracy. I have a feeling that you'd enjoy it because you like video games.
I do.
I sound like an aunt that buys you a shirt that's I'm a gamer, it's a way of life, or some stupid shit.
Uh-huh.
Here, it's because I know you like video games, Dad.
You like Nintendo?
Oh, you like them Angry Birds, don't you?
Oh, I love me some Angry Birds. Alright, I guess let's move on to Alita. Battle Angel. So we went and saw the movie on Sunday. There was also the old OVA animes, which I did watch, and then I read some of the manga.
Wait, I thought you did watch the OVAs.
I did. That's what
I thought you said you didn't watch.
I did watch.
Oh, okay. I didn't watch though.
I know.
I have a really terrible excuse. I lost the memory stick that it was on.
Yeah.
And it turns out that it was like probably right beside my computer, which is the best part.
Sure. Well, So the movie was directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by.
Also did Spy Kids.
He did Spy Kids. He actually hasn't directed anything for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then James Cameron was too busy because he's working on Avatar sequels.
Yeah.
So he
produced it.
Yeah, he produced it, and he also wrote it.
Oh.
And, Laida Kalogridis, I assume I butchered that name, sorry. She also co-wrote it.
Okay.
Probably helping Rodriguez trim it down and stuff like that, because Cameron probably had like 9 movies in one script. So
that's, yeah.
So, and then the budget was $200 million estimated, and I didn't look today, and I meant to do it. I wanted to know how much money has it made to date. So,
wait, can you Google it?
I'll look it up right now while we're talking. Anyway.
Can I do a side story about James Cameron?
Is it about him diving into the ocean?
No. You know the restaurant that we always used to go for lunch at when we worked together, the Bellagio?
Yeah.
They used to have a big mural.
That's right.
Of because the owner of the Bellagio did a furry comic that he thought James Cameron ripped off for Avatar, and so he had all the evidence pointing to him being plagiarized on the wall, and then it got settled out of court, and all of a sudden that came down, and the big mirror replaced it.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
did you find it?
The cast. Well, I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
Cast, we have Rosa Salazar. She plays Alita.
What else is she in?
I think she's a total unknown.
Okay.
But maybe she does some TV stuff or something like that.
Maybe her eyes are actually that big.
Yeah. No. So yeah, she's a complete CG character. You got Christoph Waltz, who plays Dr. Dyson Ito, who's great, of course. Jennifer Connelly as Sharon.
Yeah. Sarah from the Labyrinth.
Yeah, his name here again, Mahershala Ali. He plays Vector, who was kind of like the behind-the-scenes bad guy.
Wait, so we were both wrong? No, wait. Which bad guy did I think Data played?
The uncredited Edward Norton as Nova. That's who you thought Brad Spiner played, yeah. So Ed, his name is Ed Green. He plays Zapan, who was like the one bounty hunter asshole guy.
Okay.
I actually really enjoyed his performance. And then you got...
Was he like an MMA fighter or something? Because he has the face of an MMA fighter.
No, he's been in like other movies as well, and he plays that kind of like that asshole, I'm awesome kind of guy. He probably was an MMA fighter or something like that at one point.
He just looks like one. You know, he's got that face that's like a punchable face.
He plays that character really well. Okay, so let's see here. Domestic total as of our recording, which is February 20th, it has made $47 million in the box office.
So it hasn't made back its budget.
It has not made back its budget, unfortunately.
Oh, I hope that means that it kills the sequels. I'm spoiling my opinions about it.
Okay, so basic premise / plot is...
Oh, there's her one.
Ito finds a torso in the scrapyard, and it's a post-apocalyptic future where there was a war 300 years ago, which... the opening scene has a text thing where it just comes out and says 300 years after the fall, but we don't get any explanation or why or care, and then immediately Devin, you're like, ugh.
I turned to Dan, I'm like, I already hate it.
Yeah. That was pretty hilarious. But anywho, so he finds a torso, it's alive, he resurrects this girl with a body it's a cybernetic thing, and then it turns out she can't remember who she is. She's got a mysterious backstory, and
all the mystery,
and it's basically her living and going through life, and there's some actions, some adventure, there's some asshole guys, and there's some bad guys, and eventually
there's a heartthrob.
Yeah, there's a heartthrob, people die, and then the movie kind of just ends.
Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah.
There's some murder ball.
I mean, my synopsis is obviously quite terrible, but it's like she becomes a bounty killer, kind of. Here's the thing, is that they took so there's a manga.
Yeah.
It ran for years, and they took 4 volumes of it to make this movie, which makes perfect sense if you read all 4 volumes, which I did. And they mashed it together. Totally fine. But in the manga, of course, there's, like, in the movie... Okay, or should we not get to spoiler stuff yet first? I don't know. Do you want to say anything else before we get into spoilers?
I didn't like it.
Devin didn't like it. I liked much about it.
My main takeaway was that movie wasn't for me. And sometimes when a movie isn't meant for my demographic, it's good enough that I still enjoy it.
Sure.
This was not good enough that I still enjoyed it.
Right.
I don't see the appeal in any of it. I felt like it was a movie that looked like it should have been released 15 to 20 years ago.
You know what's funny is that James Cameron wanted to make it a long time ago, but he was like, I can't because the tech's not good enough. Not until after he made Avatar, where he was like, oh, the tech's good enough now.
No.
Okay. Sorry, buddy, I've interrupted you.
Still shitty to me.
Okay, yeah.
I felt like if I was going to make a trilogy of weird sci-fi with female leads that aren't very good, I would put it in that trilogy with Ultraviolet and Aeon Flux.
Right.
That had that feel to me.
The movie versions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love Aeon Flux, the cartoon.
The cartoon.
I would do an episode on it, just the cartoon, not the movie.
Which we've talked about before.
But Ultraviolet, was that
it was a comic, I believe, before it was a movie.
And then they tried to make an anime out of it. And
I don't know about that part, but I definitely know.
But the movie was terrible.
The movie was serviceable, but not very good. Yes.
No, it was bad. And it didn't age well.
No, that's true.
And I don't know, I guess it's because all 3 of those have very complicated storylines in their original form, but it was a longer format, so it made sense for it to be like that. And then when you compress it into a movie, you're never gonna quite hit the right mark.
Yeah.
Because you either have to omit things, which could anger the fans, you have to change the story completely, which could anger the fans, or you have to try to fit it all in, which will make it unwatchable for people who aren't familiar with the original stuff.
And it's interesting. Okay, before we get into anything else, then I give again kind of like a medium recommendation. I
know.
I enjoyed some stuff about it, but the overall story kind of falls apart, unfortunately. I was kind of like almost rooting for the movie more as it kind of went along. I was like, okay, like they're building some stuff. Like I really like there was a lot of cool world building. Some cool sets and some, like I was saying before with Devin.
It was pretty generic, I thought, world and sets.
But that's because, again, this was a manga from like before the 90s, like or early 90s.
Yeah.
So that, like we've seen it all now.
Yeah.
Right? Like this was aped and copied and etc. So it's like it's not new. It's like I was talking with somebody with Ghost in the Shell the other day, where it's like, you know, they made the movie. It was like, at the time the original movie came out, no one had seen that. But now, of course, we've had The Matrix and Sci-Fi World and movie after movie, and now when they made Ghost in the Shell, it's like, well, we've seen all that. That's not new, right?
That's true.
Anywho, so yeah, medium recommendation is kind of like, because I wanted to say something spoilery here, but okay.
Before you get into spoilers.
Okay.
I would not recommend it, just based on the fact that there was so much going on, but I was still bored watching it.
Right.
I felt like I was counting down the minutes
to the end
until it was over.
Yeah.
which is never a good sign.
No, and I was just saying, we were jokingly where there's a scene, the motorball scene, where I was like, oh, I was just like, thought it was just gonna become a CGI nightmare mess, and it didn't.
Yeah.
And then you were like, your comment was, it's like, that's not a good sign if you were just happy that it didn't become a CGI nightmare mess.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I should have been like, yeah, this is gonna be a sweet scene.
Yeah, and it was just like, yeah, they didn't fuck it up.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was like, oh, okay, good. It wasn't a CGI nightmare mess.
Yeah, I just, I feel like if you're gonna be bored with that much going on, and then but scenes that were supposed to be serious, I was laughing at.
Yeah.
There was one scene, without spoiling anything, because we're not into spoilers yet, where a character is running through the city.
Hugo, the love interest.
And I started laughing.
Yeah, literally couldn't stop laughing.
I couldn't stop laughing because he was doing parkour.
But it was like bad parkour.
Poorly. Yeah. And all I could think was like, every time he jumped, I'm like, in my head, he was just yelling parkour.
Sure. Yeah, movie parkour does not age well.
This is stupid. I think watching parkour in person is amazing. And it's like our previous episode, Ultimate Beastmaster, I'm impressed by athleticism.
Sure.
But this was bad movie parkour.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have done what the OVA did, is that he like jumps down and he jumps down at like a far thing, and then Zapan like doesn't catch up to him, and then it's just like done. There's no like bad chasing. Because what I was gonna say was, okay,
Are we getting into spoilers?
Yeah, we're gonna get to some spoiler stuff here.
We need a spoiler song. Hey, it's time for spoilers. Turn it off if you haven't seen the movie.
No.
Yeah, you're gonna have to like clip that out and then put it in every episode going forward.
Sure. No, because here's what I was saying, where you were speaking about making a trilogy and how, if like again the story would have to be so butchered that it could anger fans and stuff like that. So I've been reading the manga and I'm 8 or 9 issues or volumes in, and there's nothing so elaborate about her backstory comparatively to what we get in the movie.
Oh, so they added stuff?
It's either added or it comes from way late in the manga that I haven't seen. So that's where I was saying, it's like, you know what you do? You just do a total origin story of her, because it turns out she's from Mars, and she was part of the last war, which you can understand that in like 10 seconds into the movie, where they're like, we don't know where you came from, and oh, your tech is so tech, and you're like, yeah, she's from the last war, we get it. Right? And then they go into a stupid scene, which I hated, which I'll get to.
Of the
spaceship. Yeah, I hated that. But anyway, so you do a prequel story, and then you do like her training and blah blah blah, and then the war on Earth, and then it like the war collapses, or no one wins, because that's kind of the idea, is like the world just gets post-apocalyptic screwed, except for the one city, Zalem.
Yeah.
Is left, and then people are below it in Scrap Iron City.
Yeah, it's a floating city.
It's a floating city in the sky. That's the only one left. All the rest crashed Earth. So you do that, and then you end the movie, and if that movie does well, then you do a sequel which continues her story 300 years later, right?
I think my main beef with it is that they had like, I would say 3 A plot lines.
Yeah.
That they didn't downgrade any of them to B plot lines. So it's just like a lot of story that doesn't necessarily mesh.
I also don't like the time compression in the movie, because like she's literally away for one day, and then she's like, oh, I'm meeting this guy, like we're boyfriend girlfriend, and then we're going on adventures, and it's like, you've been alive for one day.
Yeah,
like what is happening here? And even like they do a motorball scene where they're like, oh, you want to play? She's like, yeah, and then Buddy, she's like literally, and he just like trips her, causes her to like crack her head on this concrete, and I'm like, what is this happening here?
Yeah.
Okay, so Weta was involved in making a lot of the practical stuff.
Really?
Yeah, which they always get such good work. They do great work, though.
They do great work, but I feel bad because they were also involved in Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Oh, boys.
No, they're doing good stuff,
you need
those
to pick
guys.
better movies.
They just get the work people want them for. So
what did they do? Did they do her suit, her OG suit or something?
I don't know exactly what they did. I just know that they worked on a lot of practical stuff for the film.
That's cool.
Yeah, and then so there was some cool fight scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Where, like notably when she fights Garou Garushka or whatever they call him in this. I forget. Like,
Garugamesh?
Yeah, basically. He's a big guy and he's got like this hand that can shoot out tentacle.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you mean the underground fight they had?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
That was alright.
But here's the stupid part about that though, is she learns that the Dr. Ito is a hunter-killer, which they don't have cops anymore, it's just like bounty hunters. And you have to they get bounties from the factory, they kill people. So she's like, she follows them, shadows them. That scene I was not expecting, where she just immediately murders that first person.
Wait, which scene are you talking about?
She follows Ito in the dark, sorry.
Oh, okay.
And then, like, there's, like, the three of them, and the one lady, like, is like, haha, we've trapped you.
The lady on the poster, for some reason.
Apparently, yeah, the lady on the poster. She's like, haha, we've trapped you. And then Alita just comes flying out of nowhere and, like, fly tackles that one dude and just, like, bashes his skull in. And then there's just, like...
muscle memory, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though she's in a new body.
Yeah. And then blood just comes flying out. That was one thing as well. I was like, how strong is the body that she's in? Because she's not in a combat body. But I was like, oh, you know, Ito, he's a cybernetic doctor guy. You know, they're strong.
Yeah, whatever. Power of anime.
Yeah, I was like, I'm okay with that. So she's like, okay, I'm going to become a hunter-killer as well.
Yeah.
Signs up, immediately goes to the bar of hunter-killers and is like...
Oh my god, this was so cringy, and they played it off as being cringy, but it was terrible.
Yeah,
it made
she's all
me
like...
uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's like, we have to fight this guy, like, help me out, blah, blah, blah. And they're all like, no, there's no bounty on him, kind of thing. We're not going to do that. And I was like... She's been alive for 2 days at this point that we know of.
Yeah.
And she's immediately like, let's go bounty hunt this. And I was like, what is happening?
I didn't understand why she even cared about the big, stupid guy.
Well, because he was like, after the first fight and he's escaping, he's like, I see your faces, I'm going to come get revenge. And then it's like, okay, you'll stop when he comes to get revenge.
Yeah, but like, what I feel like is if there had been one more scene between that and when she goes to the bar where he attacked them again, then that bar scene would have made sense. But just after the one, I don't know, it's just...
Well, and here's the thing, in the manga...
yeah, it made more sense.
They go to the bar, and Ito there is a bounty on him. And Ito's like, hey, look, we gotta take this guy down. He's getting too powerful, because in the manga, he's like a body snatcher. He's not just a big dude who like has some cybernetic upgrades. He like steals people's bodies, and then they're like, we have to take him down. And some of the guys are like, no, that's, you know, we're not gonna get involved. But then he just attacks the bar. And then...
Oh, and then they fight him.
No, well, Alita goes down into the sewer to fight him, and one other guy goes to help him as well.
Is it the dog guy?
It is the dog guy.
Yeah.
So... yeah. Or no, that was later in the manga, sorry, where the dog guy helps her fight Zapan, because Zapan comes back all crazy.
Which one is the pen?
The asshole guy who...
Which one?
With a sword. And he's all like, takes her on the tour.
Oh, the bounty guy.
The bounty guy, sorry.
Jeez, I can't keep up.
Sorry.
There's too many characters and they're all stupid.
So, that scene, I was like, really, like, the whole time she's speaking, and I'm like, okay, sorry, let's go back to the beginning here. She's an anime character.
Before we get too deep into this.
Okay.
Can I tell you one thing I liked about it?
Sure.
There were, cinematography-wise, there were shots that I felt looked like came out of a manga.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that.
Yeah, that's cool.
The end. No, like when he first finds her in the junkyard, Dr.
Ito.
Yeah.
Christoph
Waltz finds, and then it kind of pans out and it's kind of just him holding it in front of her. I found a picture.
There is literally
where it's like, and then when he's first putting her together, you're kind of getting these close-up shots of like some like the machines and stuff like that look very like much like a manga or comic book panel. So I appreciated that nod to the source material.
That's fair. And I was saying that probably some of that practical stuff was probably the Weta guys. Right?
Yeah, most likely.
Because again, in Ghost in the Shell, they created all those geisha robots and they all had the cool stuff.
So cool.
Yeah.
It was like the best part of that movie.
It was.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say, okay, let's
okay, now we're getting in deep.
No. She's an anime character.
Yes.
And she is an anime character with the big eyes and everything.
Yeah, but nobody else has big eyes.
That's my point here.
And doesn't she not have big eyes in the OVA?
She has the same amount of eye size as everyone else. which is in mangas and anime, they draw them bigger so for more expression, etc.
Yeah. But everybody has it.
But everybody has it.
So she's not like a freak.
Exactly, my point. And then I want to say in the flashback scenes with the Mars stuff, they all have the big eyes too.
Did they?
I want to say yes. There's the one scene where they're all attacking that pipe when she remembers the...
You know what? It's very possible I wasn't paying attention at that point.
At that point in the movie. Because here's my point, is no one comments on the fact that she has big eyes, or there's no explanation in the world within, like, to be like, oh, your combat robot model was built with bigger eyes for better sensor capabilities.
Yeah.
Or in depth, like whatever.
So they probably
no explanation.
didn't have that design down at that point, is what I assume.
Yeah, I guess.
And on that same note of her having a completely CG face,
yeah,
I felt like, and you might disagree, but particularly between scenes where she's talking to Dr. Ito, Christoph Waltz, who is a good actor.
Very good.
And scenes where she's talking to her boyfriend, number 4. Hugo, who's not a great actor.
No.
I felt like each character was talking in a different room. Like, I felt like the flow of conversation was slightly stilted.
Right.
And like they weren't talking to each other at the same time, which is interesting because somebody was telling me that she actually had a mocap suit on, and she was there talking to them. So I don't know how that happened, but to me there was like a lot of like a weird, like just like
pause,
their cadence wasn't quite right. Like they were having a conversation.
Maybe I just chalk that up to like how she's a cyborg or something like that. No, because there's a lot of cyborgs in the movie. So.
I don't know. It's just fucking weird though. I don't know if it was like the director being like, "We're gonna do this. It's gonna be cool," or
maybe
he was like, "Listen, this worked great in Spy Kids and Machete.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we're gonna use it here."
So. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm fine with the eye thing, but there was just it was never explained or mentioned, or it was like just do it with normal eyes. It's fine.
Yeah.
We've seen characters with big eyes, and I guess maybe that's James Cameron Avatar because they all have huge eyes in Avatar.
Yeah.
It's like just it'd be fine. Give it normal eyes.
I would assume that because her character was kind of like wide-eyed and innocent, they were trying to make that literal by giving her wide eyes. I assume that they were like, you know what?
Yeah.
They were like, they had like a baseball bat for subtlety. I don't know, like.
That's exactly my point. Is that we still would have got that through her character actions and
her acting
and her dialogue and just being like, oh, what's going on and everything. Not like I need bug eyes.
Bug eyes.
And then.
How do you make a killing machine seem likable? Give them really big eyes.
Yeah, there you go. So before I talk about further, we can introduce, I guess, Hugo.
Oh my gosh. So here, I have to say something.
Devin's got notes about Hugo.
Okay. Hugo is the boyfriend.
Is the boyfriend character, yes.
So if you haven't seen this movie, picture your favorite 90s wholesome family sitcom, like Full House or something like that.
Yeah.
In the 90s. And picture the bad boy boyfriend. And that's basically what Hugo is, right down to the mushroom cut and leather jacket.
And he wears a bandana.
And the bandana, yeah. And on a side note, there's one point where him and his friends are wearing goggles.
Yeah.
And I
recognize them all.
But I recognized one pair is the machinist goggles from Elope.
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything to them to make them look aged or dirty or anything. It's like they
It was at night.
Yeah, but they could have.
Yeah.
You could have put a dry brush of something on there.
Yeah.
You know, you. I don't want to get on somebody's.
Yeah.
You know, but like.
Look, the $200 million was spent a lot on CG, and they only had $20 for the goggle budget.
It bothers me that they are off the rack.
Yeah.
And in a fantasy world. If they were in a movie that was set in contemporary times, in a realistic world, and it was somebody's costume piece, that doesn't bother me if it's like off the shelf. But it's off the shelf. And it's recognizable enough that I knew it right down to like the style number.
Well, yeah, because presumably he's been wearing them on the lot and etc. They would be worn in.
They should have changed the colors or scratched them up or something, right? That's just a...
Yeah, so Hugo is annoying. And, and again, he's straight out of the manga and everything. Like, that whole storyline does exist. There's a little bit of tweaks to it.
Does she literally give him her heart in the manga, too?
No.
Where she rips it out of her chest and is like, you can have my heart!
No, that does not occur. That was kind of weird. She does something similar later, but not, like, with that. She actually puts it up as in almost like in a bet where she like challenges somebody to something and she's like, I will like give you my heart if I lose, kind of thing.
So it wasn't again like that heavy-handed, totally unsettled metaphor.
Yeah.
She's wide-eyed and she's giving you her heart.
Yeah. Well, and then the whole plot line near the end, because basically what happens, it turns out Hugo is, just existing in the world and he's a body part snatcher.
And he wants to get up to
Zalem.
I keep forgetting the name of it.
Yeah.
Sky City in the world of tomorrow.
Yeah, and so he's been snatching body parts and blah, 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 and then Zapan, because he was embarrassed by Alita, frames him not frames him, but like exposes the crime, and then gets him on a bounty list.
Who's Zapan again?
Zapan. He was the asshole bounty hunter with the face.
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. I can't remember that guy at all.
Yeah.
Who's Jennifer... whatever
Colony?
name. Yeah, who's her boyfriend?
Sharon? Vector.
Vector.
Yeah. I was going to get to Vector when we talk about Motorball.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Because Vector also interacts with Hugo.
Yeah.
Why do they have such dumb names?
It's anime names.
None of them have good names. I don't like it. Names. I'm leaving. Goodbye.
But again, so that was handled a lot differently because it's like separate incidents, whereas in this movie, Zapan's plot is happening at the same time where there's a Motorball plot.
Yes.
But before all that, so like I said, Alita has like a ceramic body that Ito had built for his daughter. She never got to wear it. She died.
Yeah.
Backstory complete.
Paralyzed,
which I missed the line as to why or how or whatever. But... So she was
paralyzed, and that made him and his wife have to move from the Sky City for some reason.
Yeah, that's where I was like...
Because the cure was down in Dirtville.
Yeah, I didn't like that part. I was like, I don't get that. But, so there's a scene, though, where Hugo's like, oh, Alita, we'll show you something outside of town. And they go and they find a crashed spaceship from the war.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, yeah, scrappers have been in there, blah, blah, blah. But they, people can't really get anything out of it. And I was like, bullshit. There's literally a crashed spaceship with the most advanced metal in the universe.
It's too high tech.
Because I was like, okay, that's we can find. And if they do a scene where she goes and she touches something and it opens up and responds to her, I'm okay with that. She swims in and there's an open door.
Yeah.
That she just lifts. And I was like, nope, bullshit again. There's no way someone would have not gone in there with a jack and just be like... and raise the door.
Damn, the tech is too high tech.
Because at this point, she's not wearing a super high tech body. She's still got just a ceramic normal body.
Yeah, but she has the high tech heart.
Yes, she does have a high tech heart.
Which she'll give to you after 3 days.
So anyway, she goes in there, finds the berserker body. Super cool. But in the manga, of course, as well, is that Ito had already found the body previously, but kept it in storage, and he was like, I'm not going to give it to anybody because I know what it does. Mm-hmm. Not in this way. So it's like, it's two different ways, but it's just kind of like she gets the body, it's advanced, it's from Mars.
Yeah.
Get it. Right.
Yeah, it's super cool. She can do a thing on her fingertip.
Well, yeah, she can make fire or plasma, basically.
I meant when she was balancing on her finger.
Oh, yes, when she balanced.
Oh, yeah, she can make... So Tony was really mad because he asked... Tony's my husband.
Yeah.
And he likes Battle Angel. And he was asking if she used her finger as a sword. And I was like, no, she kind of has a blue glowy thing. But then she also has a sword. Yeah. And he was mad about that. So there you go, nerds.
So she gets that body. And then when they fight Garushka in the sewer, she gets messed up. Which I did like.
Yeah.
And then she stabs her arm in his face.
Into his face, yeah.
Gets snapped off. That was great. I like that. And then
Christoph Waltz agrees to give her the fancy new body.
Well, yeah, she's like in a coma and dying. And he's like, I gotta put her in the berserker body.
Yeah.
It's from Mars. She's from Mars.
Should work out okay.
It should work out okay. And it does.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, like the suit itself,
cool.
it looks very cool. It's all shiny, purple, chrome.
Yeah.
It looks badass. And you're like, that'll mess somebody up.
And then Christoph Waltz drinks some milk and... Sorry, that's a different movie.
Yeah, that is a different movie.
That was a better movie.
Well, because here's where it kind of gets weird. Yeah, like, Sharon the whole time is like, I want to get back to Zalem, blah, blah. She was Christoph Waltz's wife, we presume. They broke up after the death of the daughter.
That's Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah, and then so she's hanging with Vector because Vector's like, yeah, I can get you up there, just work on the motorball guys and, we'll work something out.
And she has a purple gem in her forehead.
Yeah. Everyone from Zalem has it.
Yeah, except for Christoph Waltz because he took it out himself.
In the Manga and OVA, he still has it.
What?
Yeah. It's like, did they not want to do the prosthetic, or he was like, I'm not doing that.
He's like, fuck that, I'm not
Christoph Waltz.
Purple gem on my forehead.
Yeah.
I'm German.
Yeah, so she's hanging with him, and then, so basically she's like, okay, I want to get up there. And then Vector is like, made a deal with Hugo. He's like, if you get me a bunch of money, I'll get you up there as well. And then Alita's like, no, don't do bad things. And then they want to get her onto the circuit. Oh no, sorry, I totally forgot. Okay, so Nova, uncredited Edward Norton.
I lost it. I watched it.
Yeah, uncredited Edward Norton is like, kill her.
Or Data.
No, it's Edward Norton.
Okay, wait.
He's like, kill her.
He's like, okay, from a person who hasn't read any of the source material.
Mm-hmm.
He is like the president of Flying City, and he has blue-eye glowy powers.
Yeah.
Where he can blue-eye glowy some people.
Nearly everybody, or like a lot of people. He has watchers everywhere, or eyes everywhere.
Oh, do they have to agree to be a watcher?
I highly doubt it.
So why doesn't he just jump into anybody's body?
I think again,
why didn't he jump into Hugo's body?
Not everybody has the circuit in them.
What circuit?
I think it's if they're a cybernetic being in some way, then they have that circuitry.
Well, he becomes a cyborg.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he just jump into Hugo and then he could get Hugo to stab Alita?
Ito made him a cyborg though, right? So it was like...
Oh, I don't understand the mechanics of this stupid world.
Point being is that Nova was like, kill her.
Yeah.
And then to Jennifer Connelly, and she's like, we'll bring you up to Zalem. And she's like, okay.
Just cool.
So
good deal.
Like, yeah, good deal. So she's like, okay, I'll upgrade this guy. That doesn't work. And then she's like, Vector's like, let's get her onto the motorball track circuit, and then we can like hire some people to like kill her. Yeah. Because the game is like, people die and it's violent. And so here's where it kind of really breaks down for me is like, okay, they get her on there, and it's like, oh, that'll be cool, like a fun scene, and they have all these bad guys that are
and Vector convinces Hugo to ask Alita to join the thing so that she can become the ultimate war baller.
Yeah, well, and
then because the winner goes up to Sky City.
Yes, the ultimate eventual champion. But here's the thing: it's like, does Hugo know that Vector wants her on there to like get her killed?
No.
Well, they're just drinking, and then he's like, "Yeah, get her into the circuit," kind of thing, and you're like, what? Doesn't it seem odd to me?
No, because here's what I took away from it. Okay. Vector is acting like Hugo's friend because he knows Hugo is manipulatable. Mm-hmm. And also that Hugo just wants to go live in Sky City more than anything. And now he wants Alita as much. And so I think that's why he suggests that she go on the circuit with so that she can win them both a spot because she's so amazing.
That's true, okay.
That's what I decided.
Right. Okay,
and so Hugo's young and dumb, and he's like, yeah, that's a great idea, man.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. Because then, coincidentally, at the same time that she's involved in this murder ball plot, Zapan is then tracks down...
And he is a cyborg bounty hunter.
He's a cyborg bounty hunter.
Yes.
He tracks down Hugo and exposes his crimes to get him bounty hunted. And it's literally at the same time, so it's just really annoying because you're like, do one or the other movie, not both at the same time.
Agreed.
Because I was thinking the whole time, I was like, did Nova tell him to do it at the same time, or did Vector get him to do it at the same time to distract her headspace or something?
Listen, the universe works in mysterious ways.
I do agree with that. Because I didn't like that.
I think they did it at the same time because of the scene where she jumps out of Motorball and people follow her.
Yeah.
And then she's like skating around the city, which I did enjoy the visual of that.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they had those plots going on at the same time, because James Cameron probably had it in his head. He was like in a bus or something. And he was like looking at a building and he's like, oh, it'd be so cool if there was someone skating with people following her. Yeah. And that's why that happened.
That's why that happened. Okay, fair enough. I just didn't like that clash because then it just was like, give us a cool motorball scene, because we barely got like a full lap of the motorball, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like literally like, oh, and then she jumps out of the track and continues on, and I was like,
because her phone helmet told her to, or
exactly,
something.
Right?
I don't know.
I wasn't. So I was like, oh, I was kind of disappointed.
I was pretty checked out at that time, so I don't think I was disappointed.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see here.
So then she meets up with him.
Okay, I guess, we continue the actual plot line of what happens here.
And then MMA face is like...
Zapan? Yeah.
He's like, that's my bounty, get out of my way. And she's like, no, he's my boyfriend. And she's like, well, then you have to kill him because that's the law.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. And then they argue, and then he stabs him, and she runs into a church or some shit.
Yeah, there's some kind of church-esque building, even though that doesn't make sense.
For like whatever reason, Jennifer Connelly decides to help them, even though she has no motivation to. And she plugs her blood into him.
Yeah.
His head. And she goes to leave, and then stuff happens, and then she cuts off MMA's face.
Well, yeah, she keeps the head alive, and then when they come out, there's guardians, because they're like, oh, she's not going to, like, do the bounty, because that's against the law to, like, stop someone from doing a bounty. But she's like, no, I cut off his head, here it is. And then they're like, oh, okay. And then Zapan kind of, like, pulls at it, and she's like, no, it's still alive. And then they're like, you're interfering with a bounty. And she's just like, zing, chops off his face, which was great.
Yeah.
And steals his sword. Well, steals his sword, basically. It's like the spoils of war.
Yeah.
Because she's like, you don't deserve it. Earlier in the movie, anyway. Which has a continuity error. But anyway, never mind that.
Why?
That's earlier in the movie. It's not discussing. Anyway. So she zings off his face, but Hugo's still alive, and then Ito puts his head onto a cyborg body.
Yeah.
Keeping him alive.
And so then she's like, I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna go kill Vector.
Yeah.
And then in a really anticlimactic
scene, before that, Vector finds out that Jennifer Connelly betrayed him.
Oh yeah, because she quit.
Yeah, she was like, I'm out.
She quit, and he's like, I'm gonna send you to the fallen city of Skytown.
Yeah.
So then Alita gets there, and in a very anticlimactic scene, she kills Big Boy.
And here's what's interesting, is that in the manga, it's both Alita and Hugo that confront Vector. They don't kill him. And in the OVA, it's just Ito alone that confronts Vector.
Alright.
And he also doesn't kill him.
But she kills Big Boy. Big...
Vector? Oh yeah, sorry, that
guy. What's his name? Gilgamesh.
It was Garushka back again?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, remember he jumps in through the window, and then she cuts off his tentacle fingers?
Right.
And then he's like, and then she plasma swords him in half?
Right.
And then Vector's like, oh no! And then she's like, talk to me! And then he's like, I'll tell you anything you want. And she's like, not you. And then Data comes on.
Right. She talks to Nova. And they have like a pointless conversation. Yeah, basically she's like, I'm coming to get you.
I'm gonna go get you. And he's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm gonna get you. Oh, and then he's like, if you try to get me, I'm gonna send people after people you love.
Right, yeah.
So she stabs Vector, and then I guess they come after Hugo. Mm-hmm. So he tries to run up the cable to the city.
Well, Hugo is like, I think it's posited he just like escapes to do that on his own.
Yeah.
Right, because he mentions earlier in the movie that there's the cable. He's like, if I was strong as you, I'd just climb up it.
Yeah.
Now he kind of is, so he just starts climbing up it.
And it's supposed to be tense. Because
sorry.
In an earlier flashback, we saw that there's a defense ring grinder that chops people up.
Yeah, I thought it was around the same time that we find it, like that we see that defense. Oh no, yeah, it was in a flashback.
A little bit previously.
It was in a flashback. Yeah, so it's like as an audience we already know that there's these grinders.
Yeah,
it'd be more interesting if we didn't know that fact.
No, that's why it's supposed to be tense, because we're like, he's gonna get ground up, and I was like, why would those even be there anymore?
Well, because Sky City's still operational.
Yeah, but why do they, like, people can't run up cables?
Well, no, and then this is, again, there's a thing, because in the manga they talk a bit about it, is they talk about those rings and how they just periodically go up and down them.
Oh, that makes more sense.
To keep things off of the rings, as well as that no one's allowed to build an airplane or an airship. And if they do, they just get shot down immediately, or they just get killed because it's against the law.
Yeah, that makes way more sense than movie logic.
Sure.
Anyway.
So yeah, there's these grinder rings.
Hugo fucks up. He's gonna fall.
Yeah.
She's like trying to help him because she stabs.
She catches him. Stabs the sword and
then he like. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
James Cameron wrote this.
At least partially, because there was someone else who wrote it. It was him and.
So why does James Cameron like this? Because he did it in Titanic too, with Kate Winslet and Leo on that board, where they're like, "Hey, this is a situation you could possibly get out of, but instead we're gonna kill the male lead."
This is straight out of the manga, though.
Oh, is it?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's where he got his inspiration
it's
for
entirely
Kate
possible.
Leo.
Yeah, because this whole scene was straight out of the manga, which you can appreciate that, I guess. It's like,
I thought he just had a fetish for killing other people's boyfriends.
And I can't remember his line, though, and I think it's better in the manga and the OVA.
He says...
Or maybe it's just like...
Thank you or something stupid.
I think so, something like that. Or, again, this is all blended together now since I've read 3 different versions, or seen three different versions of this scene. But it's something along the lines like, I'm glad I got to know you, or I'm glad I got to say goodbye, or thanks, or whatever.
He says, let's stop T-Series, subscribe to PewDiePie.
Yeah, something along those lines. And then he plummets to his death.
Funny to me, but not to you.
No.
Then he dies.
He plummets to his death.
So she becomes a murderino, a murder ball player.
Right. Because she wants to win her way to go see Nova.
Yeah. Which, okay.
And then it literally just ends.
I missed something.
Okay.
When Vector is talking to Alita, he was like, I always keep my promises about sending people up, and then he shows that he's got Jennifer Connelly's brain and eyes
eyes and organs in a box.
And he's going to send it up there.
Yes.
So here's my question. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't that just happen to whoever wins a murder ball too?
Possibly.
Because that's all we know is that they go up.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
So why wouldn't she logic that? She should be smarter. She's a cyborg.
Well, she's a 300-year-old murder bot.
Yeah, like, I don't know. That seemed dumb to me that she was just like, oh, hey, they'll totally send me up if I win murder ball.
Yeah, maybe. Well, and then in the volume 3.5-ish to 4, I think, of the manga, where that's when the motorball plot comes in.
Okay.
She just does it, after Hugo falls, she, basically runs away, Hugo doesn't know where she is, and there's, a 2-year cut of time, and he's lost her, he doesn't know where she is, and then she just joined into Motorball to just do something and get away, and she stores her berserker body away and just gets another one to just run Motorball, and then she eventually just quits. She does it, she fights the champ, loses, and then quits Motorball. And so yeah, it's a whole different plot line. It's totally different.
That's dumb.
No, it works really well in the manga, of course.
No, I just mean the movie is dumb.
Yeah, well, and I thought the motorball scene, like I said, was really going to be cool, but I guess what they could have done, well, I mean, obviously they could have done so many other things, but it's okay, if you're going to do this...
They could have done a good movie.
Yeah, if you're going to do a scene where she has to escape the motorball to, whatever, then you have a previous motorball scene where she, does a tryout or something like that, and it's cool, and, and a fun action scene where there's not weird death stakes on the line.
Yeah.
Then the next time when she's in the motorball, then there's all these other guys that are there to kill her, and you're like, oh, whoa, this isn't normal. And then she has to fight them, escape, go save Hugo, because then we could have got enough fun action scene instead of everything's
high stakes all the time.
Depressor death, I guess, all the time. I don't know. Then at least it could have changed the tone a little bit for you're like, oh yeah, that's cool, because all the action scenes, while most of them they're pretty cool, it's
there's no break in between.
Yeah, it's really breakneck, but then there's no there's just none of them are
you get a good parkour chase scene.
Yeah, you get what I'm trying to say is that the tone is very not wishy-washy, but it's just weird because you're she's so wide-eyed and fun-loving, and then it's I'm gonna kill everyone and eat their brain, and then you're like, what? And then she just comes out of nowhere and smashes a dude's face in, and you're like, what?
Yeah. It was a bad movie. That's what I've come to a conclusion of. But apparently, my opinion is in the minority because most people like this movie.
I guess, but the box office numbers aren't really holding out with that.
Yeah, but those like 4 people that saw it really liked it, except for us. So those other 2 people.
I enjoyed it more, I think, than you, but I didn't. Overall, I liked a lot about it, but the story structure fell apart. And I think, like Devin was saying, that there was 3A plots that they could have lowered one down or kept one for another time.
Yeah.
Right, and then focus on these other plots.
Yeah.
To build that up. And I guess I got it because Motorball is probably the most unique thing about the Alita universe.
Is it?
Well, at least in the first 4 volumes of the manga.
I just feel like I've seen it before.
We've seen versions of it, but not like this kind of version of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying, we've seen versions of everything else. So they needed something different to kind of bring people in.
Like, I like your idea of it being, like, her backstory would have been a cool movie.
Yeah, I think it would have been, because they do a really, there's like 2 or 3 cool scenes where we see some backstory, and I was like, that was super cool.
I also would have appreciated a story about her just learning to be a bounty hunter killer.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Or a movie about her playing murder ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I
All 3 of those would have been better movies.
Yeah.
Listen, James Cameron, if you're listening, what the hell?
Well, and like I said,
stop making Avatar.
I did a little bit of research. He's had the rights for this for a long time. Has wanted to do it. Realized he couldn't do it, and then
Still can't. It was bad.
Still can't.
It looked terrible.
I don't know. Yeah, I think there was something good in there. Just needed some tweaks or some story changes. And again, I know I don't write these movies and everything, but it's like you got a $200 million movie, and the basic first thing about it is sort of wrong and broken, and you're like, what are you doing, people?
I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But is there any good live action adaptations of anime? Can you think of any of them? I mean, I appreciated Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah.
That's the name, right?
Yeah.
Because they kept the anime tone, where it could go from very serious to very goofy quickly, and every single character that you looked like they were from an anime.
Yeah, and I was gonna say I haven't seen a lot of there's a lot of Japanese movies that are adaptations. Adaptations.
I want to watch the Oran live action. I gotta find that.
Like I've watched the Uzumaki one, and of course we watched the Full Metal Alchemist one. I've watched a few others, but I think
Death Note is bad.
Well, then I was just about to say when the westernized versions of them are created,
worse.
Yeah, they so far haven't had a good track record.
Yeah, like Death Note, Ghost in the Shell, Alita Battle Angel. Mm-hmm. What else has been adapted?
There's gotta be so many, or many that are like inspired by, of course.
Yeah.
You know, because anime inspires so much, right? Kind of thing. That.
Have you ever watched that live action Sailor Moon that's on YouTube?
So I didn't even know that existed.
I don't think she got the rights to it.
Right, they were just like a fan film.
Yeah.
Some can be good, but this one.
I think it captured the tone better than this movie did.
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's just a matter of like they want to cram in all these elements, fine, but then they just did it. It didn't mesh well, or they just didn't blend the story or drop the things they needed to drop. Because it's like, okay, you need the Hugo character, because then it's like, oh, he's a nice guy and we're kind of getting together, but it's like he does bad things because of the world that he lives in and the decisions he makes. And then so she has to have a crisis of like, what am I going to do? Because in the manga and the OVA, it's the same thing. She's like, do I have to kill this guy? But they have more time to think about it.
Right.
It's not just like Zapan outside being like, oh, and then Blam stabs him. Like, there's a little more, so there's some dialogue there, because she's like, you know what I'll do is, she's like, oh, well, I'll smuggle you to Vector with money I've collected bounty hunting, and then you can still go to Zalem or whatever, right? And they don't get there, unfortunately. There is an interruption in both the manga and the OVA. But
stabbing.
There's some stabbing, yeah, exactly right. But there was more time there to build that, and for her like to get to a crisis point, not just like, and it's over, right?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I think, like I said, just the structure for me kind of fell apart, where I was like I wanted to care more, but I didn't care enough.
I just didn't like it.
Yeah.
So would you recommend this movie?
Well, I think, like I said at the top, kind of a medium recommendation. I liked some of the fight scenes. I liked some of the motorball stuff. I liked some of the world building, the practical stuff. And again, I think my like excitement for it was like I was wanting to root for it.
Yeah.
And like some of the flashback scenes we got were really cool. Or I was like, wow, that was really neat. But it just kind of falls flat for me, unfortunately.
All right.
At the end.
Yeah.
And I assume.
You don't have to ask me.
Yeah. Oh, what about you, Devin? What's your recommendation on this?
No. I don't like this movie. I don't want more movies like this to be made.
And I think, again, it's a case of, at this point, because it wasn't made 15 years ago, let's just say, we've seen all of these things, all these elements, that they're not new. And
Yes.
like we were discussing previously as well, as I was unsure who the audience for the movie was.
Yes.
Like-
And I don't know. I had issues with the quality of it overall because a lot of the times it felt like I was watching something on the Space Channel.
Well, and I think, again, because we were watching in 3D, which I'm not a fan of,
Yeah.
and so there was some shots that were blurry, and I was like, is this a result of the 3D or what? And you know what I really hated?
It reminded me of Lex. That's what it was.
Really?
It just clicked in.
Nice.
Which if you haven't seen Lex, you should look that up.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say there was 2 times at least where someone was standing in the foreground in the 3D shot, and it just looks like someone's literally standing up blocking the screen.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Oh man, I noticed
But
it and I hated it.
You know, like no joke, when that title screen came up, I checked out. I didn't know that I should probably have given it a chance, but it just, first of all, I'm not going to remember any of the names or the time period that you're giving me at the beginning.
Right.
Second of all, I don't know anything about your stupid world yet, so why do I give a shit?
Yeah, like, well,
Like,
there was a war.
Just give it to me in exposition, like.
Yeah, I was shocked that they had that little, like, that title screen to be in, like, 300
Is that
years.
how the OVA started, or
No.
the manga or something?
No. They started immediately with just, like, the scrapyard.
That's how they should have started this one.
Yeah, exactly.
You can tell me about the world throughout the movie.
Yeah.
You don't need to, like, I don't know. It just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm being totally honest, I don't ever read the Star Wars captions at the beginning either.
Ouch.
Because I don't give a shit. Like,
Well, many of them have been bad except for the first 3.
like I
As
don't.
in the middle 3.
I would rather, but I would rather just figure it out as the movie goes.
Right.
I don't want you to. It's like the thing that they always say: show, don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just write it for me. Just explain it through the movie.
Yeah.
And this has been Angry Devin ranting.
That's right. We once in a while it happens. I don't know. Like I was saying, just the audience. Again, I didn't know who was it targeted towards, because I didn't really look at who was in the theater with us, and I myself may have seen it on my own out of just curiosity's sake, but not like, oh man, I'm hyped to go see that Angel movie. Like, yeah.
I think James Cameron made it for himself, honestly. But unlike Solo, this movie, you could tell that somebody wanted it made at least.
Sure, yeah.
So I'll give it that.
There you go.
Somebody cared about this story.
So the main positive takeaways: someone cared. Wasn't a CGI mess at certain parts.
And I liked some of the shots.
Some of the shots, cinematography. Alright, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know who the audience is. Maybe like 30 to 40-year-old nerds who liked the manga.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I think they tried to make it accessible to everyone in the trailers
Maybe, I don't know. I don't really.
by just making it look like a cool sci-fi.
That's what I was thinking. That I was like, okay, maybe they're trying to make it look like a cool sci-fi. Maybe teens might come, but I'm like, but teens don't care about Battle Angel Alita.
Maybe they do now.
Okay,
Maybe you're in touch with the youth.
That's entirely possible. That
I know I am.
yeah. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like. Again, it's not like a.
I know somebody who's 19. Do you know how young that is?
I work with several people that are quite young as well.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize because I don't really interact with people that much younger than me.
Yeah.
Until I like interacted with her, and then I'm like, fuck, you're like 15 years younger than me. I could have teen mommed you.
Yeah. Anywho,
yeah.
Battle
sorry.
Angel the movie. That's all right. Like I said, I was unsure of who its target audience was.
I don't know.
Like, because with some movies you can just like immediately tell. Like, I
James
guess maybe
Cameron
just
and Tony.
people that are sci-fi fans because they're like, oh, it's a neat sci-fi thing, but it doesn't really have like a. I think the prequel story could have been more of a high concept, draw more sci-fi fans in. Because
Yeah.
like, man, it's like a training and then a war with like Earth between Mars. I was like, that sounds cool.
The Murder Ball story could have been a high sci-fi fan thing too.
Yeah.
The only one that didn't really fit in is the like hunter killer, but you could have done like a cool futuristic noir with that.
Yeah, maybe just her bounty hunting with the ego and so because again in the manga and I think a little bit in the OVA, there's like almost like a montage. They go on like bounty hunts together.
And then we could have had a bunch of like Sin City style shots where you kind of see their face, but like their glasses are like super opaque and you can't see their eyes, but they're wearing a hat and they're kind of in shadows.
Yeah, well, very much Ito's outfit. He's just wearing like a black trench coat with like the hat and the hammer.
He's got a big hammer.
Yeah, and it's all very shadowy.
Cool. That looked cool.
Yeah.
I'll give them that. Hey, look at my list of positives keeps growing.
No, like we said, I thought there was some cool visuals, some cool stuff, and
but overall it was dumb.
Some great jokes. I think Devin's a little more sour on it than I am, but
I don't like anything
overall.
Anymore.
It's like medium recommendation. Where I know which is a cop out answer, but it's just like, you might enjoy it or you're not gonna like it.
I would maybe recommend it if it came on Netflix.
Sure.
That's it.
Right.
That's as far as or if like it was on TV.
Yeah, like some kind of streaming service or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just have this time.
Where you
I'll check this out.
Pay for it.
Yeah, you're like, I'll check it out.
Yeah, and you're doing something else at the same time. Cleaning your house or whatever.
Yeah.
Shall we wrap it up, or did you have any more insights you'd like to add?
No, I think I've
Alita Battle Angels.
I think I've ranted enough about the movie.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you can follow us on all the social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. That's it. Not Pinterest.
No.
Or LinkedIn. You can also go to the website, tomeofuselessness.com. And that's it.
That is.
Yeah, so rate and review us on iTunes. Download every single episode. And
Thanks for listening.
Have a good one. Bye.